Welcome back, it's JWalter here, and here's my latest housing market update for you guys. In my previous video, I shared some early signs that our housing market may be potentially slowing down. Again, these are early signs. We'll have to see if these become long-term trends. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing the latest housing market update with you guys and the latest housing trends so you can make a more informed decision about whether you should buy or sell a house. So that said, let's begin today's video. And this is again according to a new report from Redfin that was actually just published today. And this is for 400 plus US metros for the 4-week period ending April 10th. And this data goes back through 2012. So the median sold price in the US for these 400 plus US metros for the 4 weeks ending April 10th increased 17% year over year to a new all-time record high of just under $390,000. Again, I say this over and over again, but when we're talking about any stats that have to do with sold houses, like home sold prices like this is a lagging indicator, really an indicator about what our housing market was like, 1 or 2 months ago, when the home seller was negotiating a contract with a home buyer. So in any case, with that said, home sold prices are up a record high, up to $390,000 according to Redfin. Meanwhile, the median asking price of a newly listed house increased 14% year over year to just under also $400,000 as well. On top of this, the monthly mortgage payment on the median asking price home in the US rose to a new all-time record high of just under $2,300 per month at the current 5% mortgage rate. That's actually up 35% from 1 year ago when mortgage rates were at 3.04%. So if you missed my previous video from about a couple of days ago, I shared how if you were to buy the same house 1 year ago compared to now, you're going to be paying about $400 more per month just because home prices have increased and also mortgage rates have increased approximately 2% compared to 1 year ago. So meanwhile, pending home sales, and pending home sale is when a home seller accepts an offer from a home buyer. That's called a pending home sale. Those are up 1% year over year, which is pretty remarkable because the number of active listings are actually down 23% compared to 1 year ago. So it really shows how home buyer demand still could remain elevated because we're seeing more pending home sales, even though we're seeing far less housing supply. So in any case, pending home sales are actually up 1% year over year. Again, a small gain. We'll have to see how that changes though. And new listings for houses for sale were actually down 7% from a year ago. And this is a 21st straight annual decline. So we're not seeing enough new listings to cool off this housing market. Meanwhile, active listings, which is another word for housing supply, fell 23% year over year. On average, houses are also selling very quickly according to Redfin, and this is of course because we have a lack of houses for sale, but they state that 58% of houses that went under contract had an accepted offer within the first 2 weeks, and that is an all-time record high, and that's an increase from the rate of 55% from 1 year ago. In addition, 44% went under contract within 1 week. That's also an all-time record high, and that's up from 41% during the same time period 1 year ago. Again, these are lagging indicators of our housing market. Additionally, as I pointed out in my previous video, on average, 3.2% of houses for sale each week had a price drop. However, 13% dropped their asking price, meaning the seller dropped their asking price in the past 4 weeks. So a 13% drop for the asking prices over the past 4 weeks. That's up from 10% a month earlier and also 9% from a year ago. It's important to note that during this time of year, we see fewer home sellers dropping their asking prices. So it's interesting to see that we're seeing an increase during this time of year when we should be seeing a decrease. So here's some graphics I want to share with you guys. Here's the median sold price, again, a lagging indicator. We're up 16.7% year over year, just under $390,000. A big increase really ever since February of this year, in line basically with the trajectory in 2021. So we'll have to see if this goes down slightly because mortgage rates have been increasing greatly as well. And the median asking price has increased about 14% year over year. However, the asking price has started to level out here, as you can see. It also happened in 2021 during this time of year. Basically happened starting in March. So we'll have to see if this trend continues. I'll definitely keep you posted regarding that because this is a early sign that home buyer demand may be decreasing. So if a home seller lists their house for sale and they're getting advice from the real estate agent saying, hey, here's some comparable sales of houses that sold recently in your neighborhood, However, this seller only got one offer. This home seller reduced their asking price twice before they got an offer. So if we're seeing more of that, I'm not saying we are, but if we are seeing that in particular neighborhoods, then that could cause home sellers to reduce their asking prices initially. So we'll have to see if that continues, and I'll definitely keep you posted regarding that. Meanwhile, homebuyer mortgage payments have increased 35% year over year to a new all-time record high. I mean, look at this big increase, over $2,200 more per month compared to just under $1,700 compared to 1 year ago. And pending home sales are basically flat compared to 1 year ago, only an increase by 0.7%. We basically have 67,000 houses that are pending home sales right now, even though we have far few houses for sale. So compared to 1 year ago, active listing inventory is down 23% year over year. So pretty remarkable that pending home sales are basically in line with last year, even though we have far less houses for sale. Other bad news for home buyers right now is the number of new listings has decreased 7.5% compared to a year ago. So the red line here is for 2022. It's been moving down or flattening out. If you want to see a housing market crash and home prices to drop drastically, we need to see this number increase drastically as well. So we need new listings to increase greatly in order to increase our housing supply, giving more home buyers more options, and that could decrease home prices. So we'll have to see if this continues though, because it's starting to decrease, going in the opposite direction if you want home prices to decrease. Meanwhile, 58% of pending home sales went under contract within 2 weeks. So basically 6 out of every 10 houses on average are selling within 2 weeks. However, this number has been flattening out. Even though we're at all-time record highs, it has been flattening out. We'll have to see if that trend continues as the months come. I'll definitely keep you posted regarding that. Also, 44% of pending home sales went under contract within 1 week, also an all-time record high. We'll have to see that trend continues as well though. Meanwhile, days on the market, or DOM, has been decreasing as well. And this is the time period when a home seller lists their house for sale to when they ultimately accept an offer from a home buyer. And this time period is also tracked when the house actually sells. So that time period has decreased to 18 days on average, far less than the averages we saw in 2021 when it was approximately 25 days, and also about 40 days compared to 2020. So houses on average are still selling very, very quickly. But again, this is a lagging indicator. So here's a very important stat that we definitely should pay attention to. So Redfin is reporting that 3.2% of home sellers are dropping their asking prices. This is, of course, a very low percentage, but the percentage has been increasing above levels compared to the past couple of years, though. So look at the trajectory here. Back in March, the levels were less than 2.5%, but have been increasing greatly. In 2021, we had an increase until the basically mid-March of last year, and then it basically was flat during this time of year. So this time of year during 2021, less than 2.5% of home sellers dropping the asking prices. Now we're at 3.2%. So we'll have to see if this trend continues, because right now we're at levels above 2020 and 2021. Meanwhile, the average home sold for 102.4% of the list price, meaning that home sellers on average sold their houses for 2.4% over their asking price on average. Again, this number has been increasing greatly, but again, this is a lagging indicator. We'll have to see this trend continues. So here's a housing market trend that I want to point out to you guys, and this is on Google Trends. If you go to Google Trends, you basically can search for any search term to take a look at search interest over time. So people looking on google.com searching for different search terms. So when you go to the search term new houses for sale or new homes for sale, this is for January 1st, 2021 through today, which is the 14th of April, and searches only in the US on the web. As you can see here, the interest over time basically peaked in 2021. It has decreased basically through December 2021, basically was flat for a long time before decreasing again. But more recently, though, in the end of March through the middle of April, we're starting to see an increase in the number of searches for people looking for new homes for sale. I found this to be very interesting because I noticed that the Mortgage Bankers Association, or the MBA, actually posted today as well a lot of data that was released today. They actually posted some surprising results here from their survey. And this is for March 2020. And they stated the following: mortgage applications for new home purchases. Again, these are for people looking to apply for mortgages who want to buy a brand new house. Those decreased 5% compared to a year ago, which also coincides with search interest on google.com. However, here's something I found to be surprising. Compared to February 2022, applications in March increased increased by 10%. Pretty remarkable given the fact that mortgage rates have been increasing greatly. And in my personal opinion, if you're buying a brand new house and you're putting a deposit down on a dirt lot, and you can't lock in your mortgage rates for months down the road, it's very, very risky in my personal opinion. I made a separate video about that, but comment below if you have any questions regarding that. But typically, if you're putting a deposit down on a dirt lot, then right now it's taking builders approximately 4 to 12 months to build a house. And typically you can't lock in your mortgage rate until the house is much closer to being completed. So who knows what mortgage rates will be like in 6 to 12 months from now. And that's a big, big risk in my personal opinion. In any case, though, we're seeing an increase in applications for mortgages for new houses that increased by 10%. So Joel Kahn, who's one of the MBA's associate vice presidents, say the following: mortgage applications for new home purchases increased in March, which is consistent with typical seasonal trends and a sign of strong underlying demand for housing. Potential buyers have increasingly looked at new homes as an option, given the lack of existing houses for sale. And also, I know a lot of people are sick with placing multiple offers on houses and getting overbid by other home buyers. And so it appears that some home buyers may be flocking to new houses because they are sick of the lack of options and, of course, bidding wars as well. In any case, the average loan size continued to set a new all-time record high of $436,000. Growth in applications for larger loans continue to dominate application activity. So loan sizes for brand new houses have reached all-time record highs of $436,000. He added the following: MBA's estimate of new home sales, or the number of new home sales in the United States, declined for the 4th consecutive month, with activity down 5% compared to February. This is their March forecast, and I'll definitely keep you posted regarding this because in approximately 1 to 2 weeks, the US Census Bureau will release their latest stats for March home sales, and I'll definitely make a video regarding that. In any case, elevated home prices, rapidly increasing mortgage rates, and higher costs and supply shortages for building materials are also affecting sales growth. Another key challenge that home buyers are facing right now when it comes to buying a brand new house is the cost of buying a brand new house. So home prices right now for new houses are near all-time record highs. And one reason for this is because the cost of building materials and labor are reaching new highs as well. So this is according to a new report from the National Association of Realtors. They actually just published this yesterday at the time of this video. So they said we're seeing an 8% jump in building material costs since the start of 2022. Year over year, building material prices increased 20.4% and have risen 33% since the start of this pandemic. So the cost of building materials have increased 33% basically since March of 2020. And guess who pays for this increased cost? That would be home buyers. Home builders pay for these added costs, but they pass on these added costs on to home buyers. So obviously that's a big downside about buying a new house right now. In any case, they went on to say the following: so inputs for services of residential construction, such as labor, for example, has increased 15.2% since the start of the year. And year over year, the index increased 18.5%. Counting since the start of this pandemic, though, the prices for services are now 39% higher. Meanwhile, the cost of lumber has almost doubled since September 2021, rising 90.4%. Also, concrete has increased 9% compared to January 2021, and gypsum products, which are basically like products like drywall, have increased 20.8% year over year. So in other words, a lot of the construction material costs are increasing greatly, and that's causing a lot of home prices to increase greatly for new houses because home builders are paying these added costs and passing those on to home buyers. And you can see this here because ever since basically April 2020, and by the way, these are new home sale prices according to the US Census Bureau, the median sold price as of April 2020 was only $310,000. Now the most recent data we have is for February 2022. Now we're at $400,600, so about a gain of about $100,000 ever since April of 2020. In addition, we're also not too far off all-time record highs that were set in November 2020 when the median sold price for brand new houses reached $430,300. Now we're at $400,600. So comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also check out that link below if you want a real estate agent referral in your neck of the woods. Also, if you got any value out of this video, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Hope you have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.